I'm going to show here what it's like to ride from essentially Concord High School over to Five Dock, along Crane Street and Lyons Road West. And I think this will show why the only people you ever see riding on this are middle-aged male cyclists. So we're coming down from the lights. There's Concord High on the right. You can see the road goes from 2 lanes into one here, although it's wide enough for 2 lanes. And occasionally, as I've been coming down here, I've had cars try and overtake me on the left, which is pretty screwball when you're going into a tight left-hander here. You can see the council or the RMS has some years ago put up these concrete barriers in the middle. That was because cars had a bad habit of trying to take the corner too fast, and they'd go straight across the corner and have head-ons with cars coming the other way. It's a pretty hopeless bit of design. You can see here it's actually a nice quiet wide lane, although there's no bike lane here for some bizarre reason. It starts about now. But it's plenty wide enough for cars to pass you with plenty of room. Sorry, and on we go. So we've got a lane here. It's not too bad. It's bikes only. Gets a bit of rubbish in it, but it's all right. But suddenly here, as we come past the golf course, the road widens out enough, or the parking lane, or the bike lane, suddenly morphs into a parking lane. You can see here I've had to pull out to overtake a couple of vehicles. That wasn't too bad, except at times you can have multiple cars along here, and you've got to overtake quite a lot of them. It's a 50k zone, but a lot of drivers go faster than that. At least there's a cutout there through the roundabout, so you can just zip through it. But for quite a while, there were all these trailers parked along here, and you'd come straight out of the roundabout, and you'd have to just lean hard right, go around the trailers, try not to get clipped by a car from behind, or get out, take the lane, and go through the roundabout in front of the cars. But this being Sunday afternoon, doesn't seem to be anyone coming down to play golf, so I've got the lane to myself, which is quite nice. And then suddenly it's back to a bicycle lane because it's narrowing, and we're coming up to this little bridge here over the canal. It's a tiny little bridge, and for some reason the bike lane is just squashed down into this really narrow little lane with a couple of islands on the side, and the cars start again right on the other side of the island. And you can see someone, for some reason, has planted bike symbols in that parking lane. There is no way there is enough room for me to ride alongside those cars and avoid getting doored. In fact, I can't even ride the mountain bike down there, stick in the lane without smashing wing mirrors. You have to ride out on the road. And it's, I'm used to it. I've done it hundreds of times, but would school kids ride on this coming back from Concord High if they live in Five Dock? And the answer is no way in hell. No sane parent would let their kids do that, which is why you only get middle-aged men riding it. Very rarely see women, never see children, and then people wonder why. Well, we've built this bike lane and no one's using it. Well, of course they're not using it. It's bloody useless, ridiculous, and unsafe. And here we can see what it's like passing those vehicles with cars coming up behind. Thankfully the traffic was pretty light today, so I didn't have to push my way out into the traffic. And we've got a car coming up behind me. You can see there's no room between the parked cars and the cars coming behind you. Thankfully that driver was nice enough to pull over and give me plenty of space. There's no oncoming traffic, but you ought to try doing this when there's quite a bit of traffic going in each direction. It's an absolute shocker. So I think that just encapsulates everything that's wrong with the current council approach to how they treat cycling on this main artery that runs east-west across the Canada Bay area. There's plenty of space on the sides of the roads there for doing some widening and putting in a proper protected bike lane. There's often you could probably remove parking along the side there and not significantly impact on on people, because a lot of the times there's no cars there. There's just a lot of things that could be done, and especially that pinch point over the bridge. It's just insane, and it's been narrowed like that so golfers can wheel their little golf carts back and forth, but it makes it really dangerous to cycle through it. So you try and explain this to council traffic engineers, and it just doesn't seem to sink in. Hopefully showing them a bit of video might help. I guess the only other way is to actually get councillors and some of the staff from council to actually come out and ride up and down it a few times. And hope, invite them to bring their kids or their grandkids along for the ride. And if they say, "Oh no, I wouldn't ride on there myself, let alone my children," it's like, well, if that's your response, you're saying it's too unsafe for you to ride it. Why are you happy for the rest of us to be, riding on it? Don't you think you should do something about it?